Hi, I'm Phil Constantine, and this is Travels with Phil, and we're going to Cathedral Cavern in Woodville, Alabama, up there in the northeastern corner in the northern part of the state, and it is a very interesting place. It's not too hard to get to. Boy, it was very hot and warm, and you could even see the steam rising from the roadway there. Now, the tribes have been in the area for a long time, and this has got a few interesting signs on the outside, but not overly developed as far as signs and pointers are concerned. But look at all the critters here on the trees. This is definitely a forestry area. All right, this is the natural entrance to the cave, and pretty much the river inside it stays about the same level all the way through as you travel along. Very good sign right there at the very beginning telling you the different spots that you go through. The entrance building blends in. They do have some bats in here. Now, my particular case, when I got there just as they opened up, and they normally take people through in groups, and it was going to be about an hour before the first group went through, so they just said, hey, Gizmo, come here and take this guy through on your cart. All right, that's Goliath. It's about 40 feet high and 240 feet around. It's one of the biggest stalagmites, stalactites in the world. So Gizmo, which is what he calls himself, drove me through in his little cart, so we got to see this together rather than going as part of a large group. Now, these are some of the stalactites growing up, or stalagmites, I should say, coming up from the bottom. And this has been around for some time. It was developed earlier in the early 1900s. Now, the Mystery River runs through here, and this spot right here, it can get about 40 feet deep. Now, this is one of the old bridges to get across the Mystery River. Now, it's been known to flood almost 35 feet at one point, so you got to be careful what the weather's like. I don't think it happens that often, though. And some very nice formations around the caverns. Very pretty, mostly the typical browns and whites. Now, this is called the Frozen Waterfall. And this formation started everywhere from about 100 to 500,000 years ago. And there's a spot in here called the Stalactite Mountain, which has 2 million cubic feet of flowstone. Now, you're looking at some of the river off to the side and continue moving on down. It's very nice. It's easy to get through. It's not too difficult. This is called a flowstone wall. It's about 30 feet high, and you can see all kinds of shapes up in there. If you have an imagination, it won't be hard at all to get all kinds of Star Wars figures or who knows what all you can see up there. There's Yoda in a couple of spots, so some of the folks, if you get a tour, they might point it out to you. This is the stalagmite forest. This is one of the prettier sections of the caverns itself. Mostly browns and beiges and those kinds of colors. A little bit of green every once in a while, but very, very pretty nonetheless. The cave outside the caverns there's other caves inside here, or other sections of it that aren't normally open. Now, Gizmo said, look at this, and he put his flashlight down on one of the stalagmites, and you can actually see that it glowed down for several inches inside the ground there. The highest point's over about 130 to 150 feet, I believe it is. And so you don't really feel like you're having to bend over and get through things. You can see some of the colorations here as the stuff drips down. Now, this was very, very slender, and it went all the way from the floor to the ceiling. And so there's a couple of those out there. This one reminds me of a cactus, something out of saguaro cactus out in Arizona. Section out here called the Pearly Gates as you get down toward the very end, and this is where the stuff on the walls gets a little bit more intricate. It can be fairly dark in there in some spots out here if they don't turn a lot of the lights on, which in our case they did, and they just turned on the basic operating lights and a few lights inside. That's one of the differences between going as an individual and as a big tour. Not that they're going to offer that to you. Look at these. These fell off and then went into the powdery substance down below. Bacon! I love bacon inside the caverns. Those are really cool. I like those. And you can see all kinds of shapes out here. Some of them are whites. Some of them, again, are beige and browns and various colors out there. This is the Boulder Boulevard, and the section in here where just chunks of it fell down and wound up on the sides. This is the marker for the Gurley family, which are the ones that first developed the cave. And again, we're going back toward the entrance now. And you can see a section off here to the left that goes back in for some distance. Now, these are crickets. Now, Gizmo took me off on a corner and got us up right close to the ceiling. And can you see a multi-segmented critter there? There you go. Blurred out the rest of it. There are little fossils up on the ceiling. Some of them are not fossils, some of them are alive. So you have to be careful where you're bumping your head. Now, normally the public won't get too close to those kinds of things. This almost looked like a wall that was there, but again, you can see more fossils up here and more living insects. There's a living one over on the left-hand side there by the arrow, and then a lot of nice reflections. So you just have to be careful if you do go up in those corners to where you bump your head. And then coming back out again. So it's a very nice, quick little trip, or you can, take your time and linger as the case may be. Very pretty setting out here in these woods as you come in and come out. Again, it's not like you're going to slip and slide. Pretty flowers out here, honeysuckles, as I believe. And some buzzards outside to greet you or just stare at you or fly away slowly if you start to try and take their pictures. But in any case, this is Cathedral Caverns, not too far from Huntsville. And as you're heading over toward Georgia, that'd be the easy place to stop by, not too far from Scottsboro. You can leave comments at the bottom as long as the language is family friendly. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, just click that button on the right-hand side. Thank you very much for watching,